You could just return these to Carolyn when you're done.
Yep.
That's our tax exempt card. You may or may not need it. This is actually our credit card.
Got it. Got it.
It's got more. I have already a pen. Now that I've just touched it on my gross grandma germs. I should get myself tested. If my kids are all in school. So that says CID, if they can read it or not.
That's fine.
They were clipped together.
Lovely.
I don't care. You never know. So they would ask to see your ID.
Got it. Sorry, counselor, I was freshening my cologne.
Such is life. You wore a shirt with a collar. I wore a Cub Scout shirt.
Hence why you are more prepared than I.
Isn't there something in the motto about that or some such?
Yeah, it might still be one of our things. I'm not sure.
Well, scout me in on it.
I love it. All right, we're recording, so I'm ready to kick off whenever you are. How was your weekend?
It was very pleasant. It was very pleasant. I replaced ductwork in a cabin.
Lovely. How did the steak and bourbon turn out?
Same as it always does, which is to say magnificent.
Wonderful.
You can't go wrong with that. That's like ham and eggs, which also happened for breakfast. But
Oh, that's awesome. All right, my friend.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. So for those of you who weren't able to attend one of our 4 in-person membership drives, Kevin and I thought we'd record this one to just go over some of the new stuff that we have available at council, as well as to give you a sense as to how you might want to run a meeting and everything else. And so with that, we're going to kick it off with a sample welcome meeting. And what you're going to notice is it's quick and there's nobody in uniform. And we'll talk about why that is a little bit later, but here we go. So good evening, everybody, and welcome to PAC 123. We're delighted to have you here. I want to do a few things just to get you acclimated to our PAC and everything else. So Kevin, if you could hit the next slide. So what we're going to do tonight is we recognize that Cub Scouting may be different for some of you who are never in the Scouts, or this is your first kid who's looking at Scouts. So we'll tell you what we're all about. We'll also introduce you to who have leadership positions. All of us are trained, and we'll explain what that all entails. And then finally, we'll help you with the paperwork so that you can get started on the actual scouting adventure and worry less about the paperwork. So just like you to watch a brief video that explains some of the nuts and bolts as to what scouting is all about.
All right, this is going to be our first jump cut because I didn't do the share audio. So let me just do that real quick. Stop the share. Then we're going to do a new share. Share the sound over here like that. All right.
Hello and welcome to Cub Scouting. We're glad you and your child have decided to join us for family fun and adventure. You probably have some questions, so we will start off by answering the 5 most frequently asked by new families. Cub Scouts wear a shirt, hat, neckerchief, belt, pants, shorts or skort, and socks to meetings and special events, like the uniform seen here. During outdoor activities like hiking or camping, they wear a t-shirt. They also need a handbook to learn about and record all their Cub Scout activities. You can get your child's uniform and handbook for their Scout grade level at your local Scout shop or online at scoutshop.org. You and your child are now part of a small group based on grade and gender called a den. This group meets 2 to 3 times a month to do Cub Scout adventure activities. Parents in your den work together to coordinate activities and help during den meetings. 2 parents serve as volunteers, the den leader, an assistant den leader, or co-den leaders. Together, they help plan activities and use the den meeting plans to deliver the Cub Scout program. The pack is made up of multiple dens. Cub Scouts and their families come together monthly at a pack meeting to engage in fun activities and to recognize the youth for their achievements. Some months, these meetings may be a special activity, a banquet, or an outdoor event like a family campout. Each Cub Scout grade level is known as a rank and has an animal or a symbol associated with it. Advancement refers to the completion of the required adventure activities in the handbook. Most adventure activities will be completed during den meetings, but some are worked on as a family. As the youth completes each activity, the handbook is signed by the den leader or the parent. Once all required activities are completed, the youth will earn an adventure belt loop. After earning a number of adventures and completing other requirements, they will be awarded their rank badge. This badge is sewn onto their uniform to show their accomplishment. A Kayla is the Cub Scout term for leader. At home, you are a Kayla. The den leader is a Kayla during den meetings, and the Cub Master serves as a Kayla during pack meetings. All who are a Kayla have a responsibility to ensure that they and the youth in their pack or den act in accordance with the Scout oath and law. Scouting family, where adventure beckons and fun times await.
Okay, so, and we'll have that video up online if anybody wants to see it again, if you've got any questions. But now let me introduce to you our leadership team here for Pack 123. My name's Lee Hoffman. I am the Cub Master for Pack 123. Kevin McClellan, who's with me on the video here, he is our committee chair. In the back of the room, you'll see Sean Fogel. He's very important. He's our new member coordinator, so he's our point of contact for you as you're filling out the paperwork. And then if you remember on the video, they talked about dens. Dens are the grade level division that we use in the pack, and everybody from K through 5th grade is part of the larger pack. And so for our kindergartners, those are our lion dens, and Joe Smith is running the lion den. And you guys won't meet as frequently because kindergartners have less attention span, but we do have a great program for the lions. And then John Scout is a tiger den leader. He's been doing this for forever. He even changed his name to Scout to show that, and he is our tiger den leader for the 1st graders. Sharon Leader, a natural born leader, is our wolf den leader, and she runs the wolf den, which are the 2nd graders. The 3rd graders are our bears, and Diane last name is doing that den this year. Bill Cub Scouts, former Cub Master here at Pack 123, and is now our Webelos den leader, which are the 4th graders. And Webelos is short for Will Be Loyal Scouts. And the Webelos and the Arrow of Light, which is our 5th graders, those are our kids who are prepping to become Boy Scouts. So Bill Cub Scouts runs the Webelos den leader, and Amy something or other is the Arrow of Light den leader. She's new, and eventually I'll get to know her name. And that's your leadership team. So we have a great array of activities planned for this year. Don't want to give anything away and spoil it for the kids, but what I will let you know is some of the things we've done in the past. We've gone to Space Camp in Alabama. We have gone to the San Francisco Zoo, and we've done skiing in the Swiss Alps. We didn't actually hike in the Amazon rainforest. That was more of a canoe trip with a couple of portages, but it was a fantastic trip. And we also searched for Sasquatch. We did that at Camp Mattatuck this year. It turns out that Sasquatch is actually at J.N. Webster, so that search was a little frustrating. But I know that that's a daunting list of activities, and it looks pretty expensive, but the good news is we do fundraising through popcorn, and all of these costs are covered by selling popcorn. Granted, it's all the popcorn that you could sell to Walmart, but it's popcorn nonetheless. So here's what you really need to know to be part of our pack. We meet Wednesday nights from 7 to 8:30 right here at the elementary school, and our dues are $200. That covers what the popcorn doesn't. That'll cover you through December 31st of 2021. And then we'll do a rechartering at the end of the year and give you the dues for next year. But it looks like those are going to stay pretty steady. We do the popcorn fundraiser. It not only pays for all the great trips that we told you about, but also for our awards, our annual Blue and Gold Banquet, which is a big blowout celebration, and the lesser outings like to local camps, hiking on the Appalachian Trail, what have you. And then we do have a parent guide that we'll be distributing, and you can find out all the information about the Cub Scout uniforms, our local scout shop on Darlin Street in East Hartford, and what you can do and how you can get help. Any questions? Nope. Fantastic. So we do have the QR codes. They're scattered throughout the room. You can just zap one of those on your phone and fill out the application right there online. If you've got any problems, Sean Fogel in the back can help you with the applications. And Sean will also introduce you to your new den leader in case you didn't figure out John or Sue or whichever your den is, or maybe you've got multiple dens. So Sean can help you take care of that. And once again, my name is Lee Hoffman. I am the Cub Master here at PAC 123. I'm also the membership vice president for the Connecticut Rivers Council. So if you've got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Thanks, and thanks for coming.
Wow, Lee, I think this was harder with Zoom. I kind of like having a crowd in the room.
I love having a crowd in the room, but I'm big enough for at least 3 people, so I'll be your crowd.
Well, that's perfect. So just a couple of quick things before we dive into the meat and potatoes of what we're here to talk about tonight. One thing you might have noticed is Lee just did basically an entire join night, and it took about 10 minutes with a 4-minute video in there. I think we have a tendency to sometimes oversell when we get a family in the room to learn about Cub Scouts and potentially join your pack. We don't need to do 45 minutes of here's everything there is to know about Cub Scouts. We're going to give them the basic information, the stuff they need to make the right choice for their family, and then get them signed up. So if you didn't like Lee's presentation, that's okay. If you got one that works for you, keep doing it. I have another example that are in the materials that I'm going to share with you after the meeting. So watch your email. All of that information will be in a Google Drive, and you can access that along with a copy of that video and lots of other resources that can help you out. One thing I wanted to mention also is that $200 number that Lee mentioned a couple of slides ago, just an example, right, of what a membership fee plus your pack dues might be. The actual fee for 2022 is $132 for a scout, $63 for a leader, and that gets prorated out. So right now, today, the prorated fee is $11 per month. If they join in September, it's $44 plus $25 for the first time joining fee. So don't go crazy. The fees didn't jump up to $200. That was just an example. So let's dive right in. Tonight, or this afternoon, this morning, whenever you happen to be watching this, what we're going to talk about is prepping for your joining night, new resources that we have available that I'm super excited about and looking forward to sharing with you. We're going to talk a little bit about Be a Scout pins and why they're important and how you update your information. We'll talk about social media and how that can be powerful with your recruiting event, the new member coordinator and why that position matters, and then your individual PAC's recruiting plan. So the first thing that we really need to accomplish in order to make everything else come into place is we need the date, time, and location for your joining event. If you haven't set that yet, that's the first thing you want to do. That allows us to get the flyers ready for you so that we can get them approved by the school district. We can get them copied and into your hands. And we can also make sure you have the support you need, whether it's the new resources I'm going to tell you about, people to come out and help you if it's your first time doing this, whatever you need, we're going to need to know when, where your event is so that we can support you properly. Second is you want to make sure that you communicate the event information to all of your pack leadership. Sometimes it's just the Cub Master at the joining event, and that's too much for one person to handle. We need people to check people in, make them feel comfortable, let them meet their new den leader. Every single leader in your pack has a role in this, and we want to make sure that they're present and helping out so that it doesn't all fall to one person. And then finally, we want you to share the event with us, with the Connecticut Rivers Council, so that Lee and I can help to coordinate the support behind the scenes to make sure that your event is as successful as possible. And Lee's going to do color commentary if I miss anything along the way. So promoting your event, a couple of different things we recommend. Number one, set up a Facebook event, and don't do it on your personal page, do it on your PAC's page. If your PAC doesn't have a Facebook page, that might be a good first step also. It's a place to share information about your PAC, let people see photos of your scouts doing things in your town so that it really brings the whole program to life. you want to make sure you post that event in all of the town forums that are on social media. You know, the people who, I love living in South Windsor forum, whatever, right? There's tons of them out there. We can't post that on your behalf because most of them require that you are a resident of that town to post into the group. But you've got a great audience of people who quite likely are the audience we're trying to target, people with kids, people who may be interested in community events. So make sure you post on there. You want to make sure you order flyers from the Connecticut Rivers Council. Be in touch with me, be in touch with Sean Fogel, whoever. We'll make sure that we get you in front of the right person. But those flyers, whether it's digital or paper, we want to help you create that content and make sure we get photocopies if you can distribute paper flyers. But even if it's just electronic, let's get it put together and into your hands. This next one I think is super powerful, and it's attending the Meet the Teacher night. So if this is something your PAC hasn't done in the past, this allows you to take what would have been just an 8.5 by 11 flyer and bring it to life with parents. So all of these parents are going to be coming into the school to meet their teacher, and most schools will let you set up a table there somewhere near the lobby or in the gym or wherever they're doing stuff so that you can share information about your PAC. You can engage with parents. Maybe they have a couple of minutes. They can actually talk to you and learn more about Cub Scouts. What a great opportunity. So if you haven't taken advantage of that, strongly encourage you to look at it. And then finally, attend local events. If there's already going to be a group of people in the center of your town where your Cub Scout PAC is, let's attend. Let's share the information about Cub Scouts. And we have some things that can help you make the most of that opportunity. So before I get too much further, I want to talk to you about social media because we mentioned that in the last slide. There are lots of resources that will help make posting on social media a lot easier. And they are available in the BSA Brand Center. So you'll see on the screen under that second bullet point, there's this weird link, scouting.webdamdb, yada, yada, yada. The easiest way to find this is go to scoutingwire.org, and along the top, click Brand Center. Scoutingwire.org, Brand Center. Go ahead, Lee.
And this is where Kevin and I disagree because I couldn't figure that out either. But if you Google BSA Brand Center, it pops right up.
Oh.
And that's the easiest way that I've found to get.
Well, I'm going to make that note because that is easier. I'm going to mention Google a bunch of times on this. So either way, however you end up landing there, the Brand Center is a treasure trove of great images, really action-oriented stuff that's meant for flyers, social media, et cetera. It's all pre-created for you. They've got sample emails out to families that might be interested in joining, all kinds of stuff that you can go check out. It's almost too much. So if you need help kind of whittling it down to some good choices, be in touch. I'll help you figure something out. But the BSA Brand Center is awesome. All right, so now we're going to talk about these new recruiting support materials that Lee and I mentioned a couple of times. So the first one, we used to have this big 30-foot bus to promote our STEM Scouts program. And STEM Scouts is still alive. COVID was real hard on it, so we're sort of rebuilding it from scratch. But in the meantime, we thought that we might be able to get better use out of this vehicle if we branded it with Cub Scout and Scouts BSA imagery. And so as you can see on your screen, we've done that. It's actually in production today, so we're pretty excited. We're going to see it in real life this weekend. But this is basically a rolling billboard. There's some activities on board that we can bring outside, televisions, 2 on the driver's side, 1 on the passenger side, so we can have video going to draw families in, and then we can tell them all about Cub Scouts and Scouts BSA. So really neat resource. The only issue is you got to have 30 feet to park the thing, but you can reserve this on our website, and I'll dive into that a little bit more in a minute. So the Vortex, pretty cool. We're pretty excited to see it in real life. The second one is our Cub Scout activity trailer. And I know this picture is a little grainy, but this was what we used when we used to have the satellite day camps. And so everything you need to run a Cub Scout day camp, less BBs and archery, live on this trailer. We've used it at a couple of events already this year with outstanding success. And it's also branded really big on the side with Boy Scouts of America. So it's a great billboard to just have in the town green when one of these events is going on, but also all kinds of stuff on there to have a fun Cub Scout activity day. So if you want to borrow this and use it to put on a great activity for your scouts, this is a great opportunity. One thing I failed to mention was there is a fee associated. So for the Vortex to come out to your event, we're going to ask you to pay $50, and that basically just covers gas. And then the trailer is $100 for the day, and that covers gas and our Camp Rangers time to drag it out to wherever you are. So those are fees. Go ahead, Lee.
But that's the best part about both of those is they come to you. You don't have to go get them.
Absolutely. And then we have recruiting booth kits, and this picture doesn't do it justice, but We have 5 of these available, and it's a tablecloth that's branded with Join Scouting, a Cub Scout logo, a Scouts BSA logo, and beascout.org. There's also this pop-up banner that isn't grainy when you see it in real life. It actually looks really good. There are applications. There's a beach ball so that you can do an activity. There's all kinds of stickers, anything you can think of that would help you in a small space, right? So if you can't park the trailer, you can't park the Vortex, but you want to have a professional look about your event, this is a great thing for you to borrow. There's no cost to this. We just take a $50 deposit. As soon as you return it back to us in good shape, we're going to give you your money back. So these are free, just a $50 deposit. Lee?
And the great thing about these are also fantastic for indoor events like the Meet the Teacher nights or whatever. You've got a booth with a tablecloth, the pop-ups, the giveaways. So you look like you're a professional outfit with absolutely 5 minutes worth of effort. They are absolutely fantastic. And if you go onto the council's Facebook page, you'll see some of the packs and troops that have actually been using materials in the schools, and you'll see them live and in the wild as they're intended to be, with better photography than what Kevin does.
Yeah, no, I'm terrible. It's amazing. This one came in without my thumb over it. So, okay, another one we've got, the inflatable Gaga pit. Same deal, no cost, just a $50 deposit. Then when we get it back, we'll return that to your credit card. But the Gaga pit, Lee helped me, probably 15 feet across. When it's fully inflated, but when it's rolled up, it'll fit in the back seat of a Honda. So, it's easy to come and get, but you got to pick this one up in East Hartford and bring it back to East Hartford the next day.
So two things with the inflatable Gaga pit. It is heavy, so it's much easier to handle if you've got 2 people. Somebody at council will help you get it into, I don't know if it fits into a Honda, but it definitely fit into my Toyota. So we know that works. So the other thing that I would just recommend is it comes very neatly folded. Recognize how it's folded, because after you unfold it, it's like folding an old map from back in the 80s before GPS. So you'll want to refold it because it only goes in the kit one way. Takes 7 minutes to inflate, fits about 12 kids comfortably, and they just have a blast. And it comes with everything: the pump to inflate it, the ball for the Gaga pit, all of that jazz. And you start inflating it, 7 minutes later, the kids are screaming and having a great time. A lot of fun.
Great. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Lee, about the pump, because you need to have access somewhere nearby to electricity for this one. So it does come with a long extension cord. You bring one from home if you're further away, but you do have to have electricity on site somewhere. We also have these BSA branded canopies. So think of just a regular 10x10 easy up, but they say beascout.org along the front like this, and they've got a nice big Boy Scouts of America logo on the top. So again, another way to just draw people in if they see you from across the way at some kind of an event out in the community. Same deal with these, $50 deposit. We'll refund it back once we get it back, so there's no cost in the end for you guys. Okay, so
Kevin,
go right ahead. Yep.
How do you access those things?
See, I knew you were going to ask me that, Lee. I'm going to show you real quick on our website, because we couldn't do this when we were live because we had no internet access anywhere. But let me find. Give me just a moment, everybody, and we're going to go to ctscouting.org. Lee, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
All right, perfect. So when you're here at ctscouting.org, which is the council website, you're going to go over here to resources, which is the drop down along the top. Come down here to recruiting tools. So if you click recruiting tools, this is going to populate with all of the different opportunities you have. And you click reserve here, it's going to take you over, and that's where you fill out all of your packs information. But available, you can see the calendar when these items are available. So if it's already booked, you can't book it, but you can get a sense for availability, and it won't let you double book so that you don't have to get a weird phone call from me. So all of this stuff is available. Again, that was ctscouting.org, up to the resources, down to recruiting tools, and here we are, all of the different stuff that you can take advantage of. Okay, let's dive into prepping for your joining event. So things you want to think about. This is one that has garnered a bunch of discussion, but I think it's worth talking about here, is for your promotion opportunities like this stuff that's happening out in the community or even at your joining event, we recommend leaving your uniform at home. And that might be counterintuitive, but as you can see, Lee's wearing his t-shirt today. It's Ask Me About Cubs, or Ask Me About Scouting. It's got a Cub Scout logo and a Scouts BSA logo. The feedback we've gotten nationally is that for some families, the uniform at the outset, the very first time that they interact with scouting program, the uniform is a turnoff. That's more true for parents than it is for kids. I think we know that the kids get excited about the uniform and the stuff that hangs off and the patches and the things that they earn, but parents see that as a barrier to joining. They don't understand it. They don't get it. They're not sure that's something they want to be a part of. So for that first engagement, we recommend either a t-shirt like what Lee has. If you have a pack t-shirt that you've already got in the closet, wear that one. And then we ease families into the concept of the uniform and why it's important. Because people who haven't been in scouting before, they don't understand why we wear a uniform. But once they get in and they see what we do and why the uniform is an important part of our program, then they embrace it. So if you disagree, you want to wear your uniform, go for it. But that's just feedback we've heard nationally from out in the field. So something to think about. Other considerations, you want to be at your event early. And so that's going to allow, when you realize that you forgot the piece that connects your computer to your projector, which actually happened to me and Lee, mostly me because it was my fault, at the first one of these, then you've got an opportunity for Lee to run home and get the piece that we need so that we can still have the joining event. But also, you never know what you're going to come across. Make sure you're there early enough to set up and overcome any obstacles that get put in your way. I really recommend using some of those yard signs that we gave you to direct families into where the joining activity is going to be. If you're inside and you're at a school where a family doesn't attend, they don't have a student there, they're not going to know where the library is. And so yard signs can help get them to the right spot. Makes us look like we've got our act together, and even if we don't, right? I mean, fake it till you make it is what I built an entire career on. So let's make sure people think that at least we have our act together. So help them get to the right place. And then finally, really important, have a greeter, right? Somebody to engage the family the second they walk into the room so that they feel like they're a part of something, they're welcomed, it's warm, it's friendly. And that's a great role for the new member coordinator. All right, let's talk for a second about beascout.org pins. Hopefully everybody who's listening to this is familiar with beascout.org. That's something that gets branded on everything, and I'll show you some examples here in a minute. But this is really where we direct families to learn more about scouting, and it will allow people to whittle it down right to the units that are in their community. So if I go to beascout.org and I punch in my zip code and say that I have an elementary school child, it's going to show with a geography what the closest Cub Scout packs are. And it includes contact information and information that you pump in about your pack. And so you want to make sure that information is up to date, because that's where we're driving traffic. And it's not very hard to update Be a Scout pins. One thing I wanted to mention is we do have a packet of materials for you available that includes yard signs and a bunch of paper resources, but I'm also going to put that stuff online. And one of the instruction sheets is going to be how do you update your beascout.org pin. And it fits in fairly large print on an 8.5 by 11 sheet with screenshots, so it's not all that complicated. If I can do it, I promise you can do it. But they're important because that's where the families are going to go. Lee?
And if you're wondering whether or not your beascout.org information is correct, just go to beascout.org, type in your zip code and the age group that you're targeting, if you're a pack or a troop, and you should pop right up with all of the information. And chances are the information on the meeting and the place are right, but we've got several where the Cub Master is listed as 2 Cub Masters ago, and that's not always great. So just go there, and if it needs to be updated, Kevin's got the materials, and he's right. It's dead simple to do.
And one thing to mention on that too, Lee, I'm glad you brought it up, is the system isn't dynamic to update itself, right? So if your Be a Scout pin is going to change, it's going to be because you intervened and changed it. So it's important that you go in, check it, and change it. And then updating your PAX pin, again, the instructions are there, and it's really pretty easy. So as an example, if you've never been to beascout.org, this is when I was living in Winstead. I did a screenshot of me punching in the Winstead zip code, and you can see Pack 1027 to the Winstead Lions Club. Pack 2017 was just up the road. Pack 19's over in New Hartford. So it just gives you all of the information. It might be a little tough to read on your screen, but you can see that for Pack 1027, you've got the meeting location address, you've got a contact name, phone number, and email address, lets you know what genders are accepted in the pack, whether it's a boy-only pack, boys and girls, or girl only, and then it gives you a chance to write just a little narrative about your pack, right? A couple of sentences, you don't want to go crazy, but it gives you some great information. So this was an awesome example of what a Be a Scout pin looks like when somebody sees it on the screen.
Well, but Kevin, go back there. That's actually what a Be a Scout pin used to look like, because now there's another bar next to the request more information.
Great point. And so you're right, Lee. And this was a couple of years ago when I pulled the screenshot. There's also a blue button that'll appear next to request more information that says apply now. So if you have a family that already knows everything they want to know about your Cub Scout pack and they want to join today, they click that apply now button, and then it just fills out an application, which you can manage through my.scouting. Again, another information sheet that you'll receive in that Google Drive is how to manage applications that come through electronically. So we'll still accept paper applications and offline payments, but definitely encourage you to use the online application system because A, it's faster, B, it's easier, and parents can do it right from their phone at your joining event and pay by credit card. All done. Cub Master goes in and approves that night. He's already in Scout Book the next day. It's fantastic. So we love the online application system, and they can get to it right from beascout.org. Okay, so why is Be a Scout important? Well, it's on everything that we put out there. So on your top left there, you can see a sample of a yard sign. The ones this year look just a little bit different, but beascout.org, real big across the bottom. To the right of that is just a small screenshot of the corner of a flyer. Every flyer that we put out there has beascout.org. Join today at Be a Scout. Learn more at beascout.org. Stickers. We used to do those bracelets. Everything we put out there is all branded with beascout.org. So we've got one place to send everybody to learn more about scouting. But the only way that that's going to work well is if you go in and update your pin. So if you had any obstacles with that, reach out to me, reach out to Sean, reach out to your district membership chair or Lee. Any of us can help you get your Be a Scout pin the way that you want it to be. All right, let's take a minute and talk about the new member coordinator. So when I asked this at the in-person events, I said, you know, how many packs here have a new member coordinator? And usually it was maybe one or two hands that went up out of the 40 who were in the room. The second question was, how many of you have just an abundance of leaders who are just looking for something to do, and so we could just slide them into a new member coordinator? Of course, that got a laugh, right? This is, again, why it's easier to do this in person. But the point there is...
I'm laughing.
I appreciate that about you. The point there is that I understand that recruiting somebody just specifically to be the new member coordinator might not be realistic for your pack. That's okay. It's less about the individual and this being their only function. It's more about, is the function being accomplished? And the function of a new member coordinator is making sure that new families are engaged from the beginning and feel like they're a part of your Cub Scout pack. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So it's all about the welcome. It's that first opportunity, the first engagement somebody has with Cub Scouts. Might be at that event on the green. It might be when they walk in the door at your joining event, but we want to make sure that people feel warm and welcomed by whoever is going to be serving in this function. And every leader should have a piece of that, right? Everybody should be welcoming people into your pack, but you're going to need somebody who's the point person. Could be the assistant den leader for your bear den. Doesn't matter who, just pick the right person who's going to be warm and engaging to people. So when you first walked in the door in scouting, if you weren't a scout as a kid, you probably didn't know a whole lot about what you were walking into. Were you excited? Were you confused? The purpose of the new member coordinator is to help make sure that, again, everybody feels welcomed and that they can get past that initial emotion, feel great about Cub Scouts, and really listen and join. So go ahead, Lee.
And if you do have one of the parents who's got 3 kids going in all different directions and they just don't have time to devote to being a den leader or a Cub Master, assistant Cub Master, that's actually a great job for the new member coordinator because it's a 2-month shot. They make them feel welcome. And then after October, their role is done. And so you do have people within your pack that you can look to do this. It's as Kevin's about to explain, it's not a heavy lift, but it's an essential lift.
Perfect. So let's talk about why the new member coordinator is so important. As we've already talked about ad nauseum, it's to make sure people feel welcome and engaged. The first time, the second time, the 5th time they come in and engage with your pack, making sure that they feel welcome. The second part is explaining the benefits of the scouting program. As it stands right now, our #1 recruiting tool is still one 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And we're trying to expand that to be live events, you know, parents coming up and engaging with your leaders out there on the town green or wherever. But the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper is still #1 for us. And that doesn't I don't know how you whittle down all of the benefits of the scouting program in one piece of paper. That's where this position comes in. What are the real benefits of scouting? Why is this important? Why am I looking to join this organization? This next one I think is the most important. It's to explain and translate Cub Scouts. We have a whole bunch of words that we take for granted in Cub Scouts because we've been doing it for a while. But if you're walking in off the street, what's a den? Who's a Kayla? What are we talking about here? So we need somebody who's able to translate this into language that a parent who doesn't know anything about Cub Scouts is going to understand and can relate to. We want to make sure that we're encouraging families to come back. You know what? If you got a brand new den leader, that first den meeting is probably going to be a little rocky. They're going to get better, but we need somebody to go and say, hey, relax, we're doing training, everything's cool, come on back to the second meeting, it's going to keep getting better. It helps with retention, same concept as that last one, and then also to foster gradual volunteerism. So, you know, parents who walk in the first time might say, there's no way, I'm not going to help you guys. Like, I don't have time for this. I work a job. I got kids going in every different direction. I can't afford the time to volunteer in scouting. But over time, that new member coordinator can bring that person in. So maybe you're not ready to be the popcorn kernel this year, but would you bring the refreshments to the February committee meeting? And that's the foot in the door to help get them to see the benefits of volunteering along with their kid and becoming a leader in scouting.
And it's only an hour a week.
That's it. We're doing our hour right now, Lee. I'm going home. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is your PAC's recruiting plan. So in that Google Drive, you're going to see an 8.5 by 11 sheet that just asks for the details about when is your joining activity. What schools do you recruit from? How many flyers do you need? Basically, all the stuff we need to make sure we support you properly. Once you go through and fill that out, send it over to me in an email, take a picture of it, you know, make a paper airplane and throw it at East Hartford, whatever, just to get me the information, or Sean, so that we can make sure we support you well. But that recruiting plan is a really important piece to help us help you to get everything together. So with that, Lee, I'm going to give it to you for parting comments.
So I have two parting comments. One is we have, in addition to all of the resources that you can reserve on the website, we have two brand new resources that are of the warm-blooded variety that we're adding to council. In fact, we're doing it today in 20 minutes, I think, Kevin.
That is correct.
So Chip and Ricky Ann are helping out. Chip Goss on the eastern side of the state, and Ricky Ann Levesque on the western half of the state are going to be our new membership coordinators and point people for council. And as you can see on the screen, Kevin is giving you their email addresses. You should feel free to take advantage of not only Kevin and Sean's skill set with all of this, but also theirs. And if you've got any questions, you can send them an email. You can send me an email. As you can see, Kevin now has my email memorized because I kind of sort of live and die by it. And the five of us are here to help you in any way we can. We're really excited. Ricky Ann and Chip have forgotten more about scouting than most of us will ever know. They have real, honest to God experience in recruiting at the PAC level, so they understand what you've gone through. In fact, Ricky Ann largely rebuilt her PAC, not from scratch, but did a significant recruiting drive, and is, in my opinion, the poster child for the benefits that scouting are bringing right now at this point in time, where everybody's re-looking to the outdoors, everybody's looking to get involved in outdoor activities, and we have the program to do that. And so when we were doing these live, I would say that it was August, and we had 120 recruits in the system right now. And that number has only grown, and we really haven't done our big recruiting pushes. Those are coming now. If you are getting, the thing that I'll leave you with is we're getting leads off of Be a Scout. And when people are requesting more information, and when people are doing that, if your Be a Scout pin is correct, you'll be getting emails every morning that you have a new contact, somebody reaching out, you'll get an email. That's a hot lead. those are people who want to know about your pack and what you're doing. So please follow up with them. That makes recruiting really easy when they're knocking on your door rather than you knocking on theirs. But we're very excited this year. It's going to be a great recruiting season. All the stars are finally aligned for us rather than against us. And if you've got any questions or need any help, feel free to reach out to any of us. And thank you for everything you're doing to make scouting a success. Most folks don't thank you enough, so I'll end with a thank you.
Beautiful.
Yep, and brilliant, brilliant with the typing of the emails, but I can't believe that we forgot.
If I had planned ahead, that's all right. That seems to be a theme this year.
It is what it is. Can I talk to you about something that's related, but only slightly?
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me just see if I can stop the record. Let's